Assalamualaikum, my name is ZAININA FARHANA PT ZAINI and I am going to explain about the background of Malaysia's first Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman Putra Al-Haj. Tunku Abdul Rahman was born on 8 February 1903 at Alostar, Kedah, and he was the seventh son of Sultan Abdul Halim Hamid Shah, and his mother was named Makcik Menjelara, the daughter of Luang Mira, chieftain of the Siamese Shan states. Tunku Abdul Rahman is known as the father of independence. Tunku Abdul Rahman starts to get his education since he was 4 years old at school by learning Malay in the morning and English in the afternoon. He then later going to English school at Alostar, Kedah, which now known as Sultan Abdul Hamid School. And later he began his study at Penang Free School at the age of 12, and when he was 16 years old, he's been awarded with scholarship by Kedah State to go to England to prepare for university entrance examination. And finally, at the age of 22, he obtained his degree at St. Catherine College, and he was the first Malayan to gain a degree at British University. After graduated, he returned to Malaya but was sent back to England by his brother, Tunku Ibrahim, to study law. But he did not pass even after 5 years of trials. While he was there, he suggested and actively participated in Malay Society of Great Britain when he realized there is a lot of Malaya people come to England to further their study. This society was established to take care of Malaya student welfare, and after he failed on getting his law degree, he returned to Malaya to join Kedah Civil Service as a cadet in Legal Advisor Office in Alostar, Kedah. In 1938, he go back to England to continue his law degree but was interrupted by World War II, and during this outbreak, he returned back to Malaya to serve. He can finally resume his study at England after 2 years of Japan's surrender, and he finally success to call to the bar in 1949 at Inner Temple. Tunku Abdul Rahman start his nation-building process by getting Malaya its own independence. He started his journey at 1955 by going to London to negotiate with British government for Malaya self-government and independence. On January 1956, he successfully obtained Malaya its own independence, and British suggested for Malaya to celebrate their independence at 31st August 1957. Then a big celebration for Malaya announcement Independence Day was held at Stadium Merdeka on 31st August 1957 morning. Tunku Abdul Rahman announced the Malaya is a free country by shouting Merdeka and was repeated by Malayan people. He also thinking on building a multiracial country that can live peacefully. As we know, during that time, Malaya was filled with different races of people such as Malay, Chinese and Indian. So it is an important thing to let them live happily without feeling or having differences. This step is also important so that British government believe Malaya can take care of its own people. And lastly, the formation of Malaysia in 1963 was one of the biggest nation-building process that Tunku Abdul Rahman did when he was a Prime Minister. This Malaysia contains Malaya, Singapore, Sabah and Sarawak. This formation is to build Malaysia its own identity and to introduce Malaysia as a new country. This formation is also important to ensure that Malaysia is declared as a sovereign country who is free to rule, to decide and to take care of its own people.
Malaysia is country rich in culture and religion, but this diversity has also brought many challenges. When Malaysia gained independence in 1957, led by Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman, the country faced the difficult task of uniting people from different ethnic groups, including Malays, Chinese, Indian and indigenous communities. A few questions arose. Would Malaysia be a Malay-Malaysian state or Malaysian-Malaysian state? And would it be a secular country or Islamic state? Tunku Abdul Rahman worked hard to find a balance and create a peaceful and united nation. Malaysia is made up of many ethnic groups with their own culture, language and religion. Most Malays are Muslim. The Chinese practice Buddhism, Taoism and Christianity, while the Indians mainly follow Hinduism. Indigenous groups in Sabah and Sarawak also bring unique tradition and belief. The diversity sometimes create division, but it also gives Tunku Abdul Rahman a chance to promote understanding and unity. Tunku believed that embracing this difference could make the stronger country. However, it was an easy task to ensure every group feel represented and respected. One of the first issues Malaysia faced was deciding on its national identity. The British government, the Federation of Malaya Agreement of 1948, gave Nationalist Malay's political party, UMNO, to be a future nation state with help from Malay ruler. Tunku worked with the UMNO MIC alliance to balance this privilege with non-Malay demand, like citizenship, equality, such as recognizing Chinese and Tamil as official language on par with Malays and English. Still, issues keep rising over whether Malaysia should focus on the Malay identity or be more inclusive of all ethnic groups. Tunku's leadership tried to respect Malay rights while building a national identity for everyone. Malay was made as national language and Islam was declared the religion of the Federation. At the same time, non-Malays was allowed to freely practice their religion and keep their culture. This showed Tunku's effort to unite the country while respecting its history and the diversity of its people. Another challenge was whether Malaysia would be a secular or Islamic state. Since Malay are closely connected to Islam, some people thought Malaysia should be an Islamic government. However, with so many religions in the country, a natural approach was the best solution. The federal constitution, designed with Tunku guidance, states that Islam is the religion of the federation but also guarantee freedom of religion and support a secular system of governance. Tunku had contributed in nation-building progress to overcome this challenge. Tunku has tried to improve the level of education with a single system of national school for all race. Tunku want more Malay children to use English and Malay as medium communication. Tunku also designed Malaya's first development plan from 1950 to 1955 to deliver social service, eliminate poverty and enhance the largely Malay rural areas. After that, under the Tunku Alliance government, Malaya's first 5-year plan 1956 to 1960 was implemented to foster economic growth and enhance the living condition of the population, especially in rural regions.
Hi, I am NOOR binti ZAMRI. So I will be discussing the crucial role played by Tunku Abdul Rahman in addressing Malaysia's economic challenges during the early years of independence. So Tunku Abdul Rahman leadership not only focused on achieving political stability but also laid the economic foundation for Malaysia as a developing nation. So his vision was to reduce socio-economic disparities and promote sustainable growth. So let us explore the challenges Malaysia faced post-independence, the strategy Tunku implemented and also the lasting legacy of his leadership. The first point is divide and rule policy caused economic imbalance. The British colonial administration left a legacy of divide and rule policy that divided the population along ethnic and economic lines. After 1957, this economic imbalance continued with the Malay population continuing to dominate the agriculture sector while the Chinese and Indian communities dominated the commercial and industrial sector. So Tunku Abdul Rahman implemented policy to reduce this gap by promoting rural development and encouraging economic empowerment among the Malays. Initiatives such as RIDA, later rebranded as MARA, were expanded to provide training and financial support to Malays in the business sector. The second point is British control over key industry. After independence, the imbalance in employment opportunities continued to hamper economic development. The lack of education and vocational training among the Malays limited their employment opportunities in the modern economy, reinforcing socio-economic inequalities. To address this issue, Tunku Abdul Rahman emphasized the importance of education and launched initiatives to increase access to secondary and higher education. The establishment of the University of Malaya in 1962 and the institutions of MARA aimed to increase the Malay workforce and increase their participations in the public and private sectors. Despite gaining independence, British companies maintained control over key industry such as rubber, tin and banking. This This control hindered the ability of the Malayan government to develop economic policy that directly benefited the local populations. Tunku Abdul Rahman sought to shift economic control by encouraging local entrepreneur and foreign investment in favour of local owners. By the mid-1960 series, major efforts were being made to control strategic assets, which was established with the formations of entities such as Pernas Perbadanan Nasional Berhad to increase Malay participations in the industrial sector. The third point is the limited economic autonomy and rural poverty. So the communist insurgency, which began before independence, continued to pose economic challenges in early years of Tunku Abdul Rahman leadership. The prolonged conflict disrupted plantations activities, infrastructure projects and the rural economy. So Tunku Abdul Rahman focused on restoring stability through rural development program such as the Federal Land Development Authority, which we call as FELDA, that was launched in 1956 but expanded significantly after 1957. So FELDA is resettle landless farmers, increase agriculture productions and also increase rural economic growth. As the Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman played a very important role in formulating development, policy and plan. So this aimed to develop the country and reduce the poverty gap among Malaysians. He implemented various initiatives to strengthen the education sector, develop the rural sector and diversify the economic sector. Therefore, this can make Malaysia towards achieving more balanced progress. Tunku Abdul Rahman introduced FELDA to address the problem of poverty among rural Malay farmers. FELDA helped open new land for agriculture and provided land to the rural poor to increase their income and provided opportunities for a better life. In addition to FELDA, the government also carried out various rural development projects such as the development of basic infrastructure, roads, air supply and electricity. So to improve the living standard of farmers and the rural communities, one of the major steps in overcoming the acute rural poverty at that time was the existence of investment in the agriculture and land development sectors. The first national plans was on 1966 to 1970 was a major initiative in planning the developments of the country. This plan focused on the development of infrastructure, agriculture, education and industry to increase economic growth and reduce the imbalance between urban and rural areas. One of the main goals of this plan is to reduce the income gap between the races and between urban and rural areas. This economic plan focused on the developments of marginalized rural areas and increasing access to economic resources for the poor and farmers. Tunku Abdul Rahman also emphasized the importance of the country's fiscal and economic stability by maintaining prudent fiscal policy. The national budget must maintain to ensure that the country does not face a large deficit, and public investment must be directed to sectors that have the potential to stimulate the economy in the long term. Overall, the initiative implemented by Tunku Abdul Rahman in addressing the country's economic challenges at the time aimed to ensure economic stability, reduce rural poverty, develop human capital and create an economy that was competitive and less dependent on raw material exports. Tunku Abdul Rahman played a key role in building the foundations for a more modern and sustainable Malaysia. Tunku Abdul Rahman's leadership after 1957 was instrumental in laying the foundation for Malaysia's economic resilience, promoting equity and steering the country towards sustainable economic growth and unity.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad HAFIZUDIN and I will present the other two main challenges faced by Tunku Abdul Rahman during Malaysia nation building process. Now, I will talk about the third challenges Tunku faced was addressing internal instabilities. Tunku Abdul Rahman faced significant internal challenges, beginning with the Communist Party of Malaya guerrilla warfare campaign during the first Malayan emergency. The Communists targeted infrastructure and exploited ethnic divide, especially in rural Chinese area, threatening Malaysia's security and economy. Even after the emergency ended in 1960, Communist activity persisted along the Malaysia-Thai border. To combat this, Tunku still continued counter-insurgency measures like the bridge plan, relocating over 500,000 rural Chinese to secure new villages to weaken communist support. Tunku also worked with British and Commonwealth forces to strengthen military effort and enact the Internal Security Act in 1960 to maintain order and national security without having to declare emergency. The second major challenge was Singapore's separation in 1965. The 1963 merger of Malaya, Singapore, Sabah and Sarawak aimed to create economic and political unity but faced racial and political tension. Tunku emphasized Malay special right, while Singapore leader Lee Kuan Yew advocated for equality under a Malaysia policy. Economic and political rivalries, along with communal riot in 1964, highlighted the growing instability, recognizing the unsustainability of the Union. Tunku pragmatically expelled Singapore in 1965, ensuring peaceful separation and stable relations between the two nations. The May 13, 1969 racial riot were another critical challenge caused by deep-seated ethnic and economic disparities. Malay, feeling left behind economically, demanded affirmative action, while opposition party represented non-Malay pushed for equality. The 1969 election heightened the tension, leading to violent riots, death, and economic disruption. A state of emergency was declared, and Tunku established and appointed member of the National Operation Council (NOC) led by Tun Abdul Razak to restore order. Tunku took responsibility for the unrest and stepped down in 1970, paving the way for new policy addressing racial issues and promoting long-term harmony through multiracial cooperation. Lastly, the challenge faced by Tunku Abdul Rahman during the nation-building process was navigating Malaysia's new role on the regional and global stage as a newly independent nation. Malaysia under Tunku Abdul Rahman leadership faced significant challenge during the Cold War after the independence. Southeast Asia was a hotspot for ideological conflict, with communist movement in neighboring Vietnam and Indonesia threatening Malaysia. This threat grew with China's support for revolutionary movement in the region, including in Malaysia. To address this challenge, Tunku adopted a non-aligned foreign policy, maintaining Malaysia's sovereignty while leaning toward the West. Although Malaysia officially joined the non-aligned movement after Tunku retired in 1970, he had already laid the groundwork for neutrality before. He secured defense support from Britain and the Commonwealth, while avoiding fully alignment with either Soviet or Western bloc. By working with Western allies and economic development, Tunku countered communist propaganda and strengthened Malaysia's national security. Tunku also faced external regional challenges such as Indonesia Confederacy campaign, where Sukarno opposed Malaysia formation, accusing it of being a British neo-colonial project. Tunku responded by securing military assistance from Commonwealth nations like Britain, Australia and New Zealand to repel Indonesian infiltrators, particularly in Sabah and Sarawak. He also appealed to the United Nations, emphasizing Malaysia's legitimacy and sovereign state. Tunku persisted in diplomatic engagement, bore fruit with the normalization of Malaysia-Indonesia relations under President Suharto in 1966. Additionally, Tunku had to address the Philippine claim over Sabah, which was based on historical ties to the Sulu Sultanate. He adhered to the finding of the Cobalt Commission, which confirmed Sabah's desire to join Malaysia, and resolved the issue through peaceful bilateral and international discussion, ensuring the dispute did not escalate into conflict. To foster long-term regional stability, Tunku co-founded the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) in 1967 with Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand and Singapore. ASEAN provided framework for resolving disputes peacefully, promoting economic collaboration and countering Cold War superpower rivalries. This initiative not only reduced tension in conflicts such as confrontation and the Sabah dispute, but also established Southeast Asia as a region focused on cooperation and development amidst external ideological pressure. Through this effort, Tunku effectively positioned Malaysia as a stable sovereign nation on the regional and global stage. To foster long-term regional stability, Tunku co-founded the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) in 1967 with Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand and Singapore. ASEAN provided framework for resolving disputes peacefully, promoting economic collaboration and countering Cold War superpower rivalries. This initiative not only reduced tension in conflicts such as confrontation and the Sabah dispute, but also established Southeast Asia as a region focused on cooperation and development amidst external ideological pressure. Through this effort, Tunku effectively positioned Malaysia as a stable sovereign nation on the regional and global stage.
In conclusion, Tunku Abdul Rahman term as Malaysia's first Prime Minister ended in 1970, an era that was marked by his dedication to democracy, national unity and peaceful coexistence come to an end. Even though he has experienced difficulties that tested his leadership and personal strength, his final years in office and his post-political life demonstrated his everlasting commitment to the nation. Tunku Abdul Rahman as the Prime Minister of Malaysia on 22 September 1970 because of the politic backlash and criticism of its government, even though he tried to bring peace. As a person who successfully brought independence to the country, Tunku Abdul Rahman has received a lot of awards and honours to commemorate Tunku's service and sacrifice in achieving independence of Malaysia. This award is very suitable for all the hard work that Tunku did and the challenges that Tunku went through with any complaints. Tunku Abdul Rahman received a lot of awards, but there are few awards he treasured the most, such as the Kedah Order of Merit, which he received from late Sultan of Kedah in May 1958. Other than that, he also received award for 1960 Award for Community Leadership from the Rahman Magsaysay Award Foundation in the Philippines. Tunku Abdul Rahman passed away on 6 December 1990 at the age of 87 in Kuala Lumpur due to illness. He was laid to rest at the Royal Mausoleum in his birthplace of Al-Star, Kedah, with a full state honour ceremony. I can say that he is truly the father of the nation because he never pursued the meaning of despair in giving Malaysia its own independence that can be said to be difficult to achieve. All problem and obstacle he faced calmly without any fight and misunderstandings. He has high faith in God, made him a transparent leader who carry out his duty with honesty and trust. That's all from us. Thank you very much.